Toyota, from looms to legends. The mistake-proof machine. Japan, late 19th century. The country is opening up to the world, but it is still poor. In a small village, a woman is weaving cotton late into the night. Her hands are bleeding, her back is bent. Her son watches her, his heart breaking. That son was Sakichi Toyoda. He wasn't an engineer, he was a carpenter's son. But he made a vow, I will invent a machine to save my mother from this pain. Sakichi locked himself in a shed. The villagers called him crazy. They said he was wasting his time. But after years of failure, he created it, the Toyota automatic loom. But it wasn't just any loom. It had a special feature. If a single thread broke, the machine stopped automatically. It didn't produce defective cloth. It didn't waste material. This simple idea, stopping the line to fix a problem immediately, would become the DNA of Toyota. They called it Jidoka, automation with a human touch. Sakichi became rich. He built a textile empire, but he saw the future. On a trip to the United States, he saw something that terrified and amazed him: the automobile. He returned to Japan and called his son, Kiichiro. He told him, I built the loom business. Now it is your turn. You must build cars. The Great Gamble. Kiichiro Toyoda had a huge problem. Japan in the 1930s had no steel industry, no tire makers, no machine tools. Ford and GM already dominated the Japanese market. Everyone told him, don't do it. You will bankrupt the family. But Kiichiro honored his father's wish. To fund this crazy dream, they did the unthinkable. Sakichi sold the patent to his beloved automatic loom to a British company, the Platt brothers. He took that money, every penny of it, and gave it to Kiichiro. It was the ultimate gamble. They burned the bridges behind them. There was no going back to textiles. In 1936, they produced their first car, the Model AA. Honestly, it wasn't great. It looked like a Chrysler DeSoto copy. It was expensive, and it broke down. But it was Japanese. Just as they were starting to gain momentum, the world went dark. Ashes and resignation. World War II devastated Japan. The Toyota factories were bombed. The economy collapsed. By 1950, Toyota was on the brink of death. They had no money. They couldn't pay their workers. For a company that prided itself on treating employees like family, this was a disgrace. The workers went on strike. It was bitter. It was shameful. The banks agreed to save the company, but on one condition. They had to fire 1,600 workers, and the president, Kiichiro Toyoda, had to resign. Kiichiro, the man whose dream started it all, stood in front of his employees with tears in his eyes. He took full responsibility. He resigned to save the company. 2 years later, he died of a broken heart and overwork. He never saw what his company would become. This tragedy changed Toyota forever. The new leadership, led by Eiji Toyoda, Kiichiro's cousin, vowed, "We will never be this weak again. We will eliminate all waste. We will become perfect." To survive,
Kiichiro Toyoda went to America. He visited the massive Ford Rouge plant in Detroit. He saw the sheer scale of American manufacturing, producing thousands of cars a day. But A.G. noticed something else. He saw waste. He saw warehouses full of unused parts. He saw cars waiting to be fixed. He saw machines running even when no one needed the parts. Ford had mass production, but Japan didn't have the space or the money for massive warehouses. A.G. returned to Japan, and along with a genius engineer named Taichi Ono, developed a new system. Instead of making thousands of parts and storing them, they would make only what was needed when it was needed. They called it just in time. They gave every worker on the assembly line a cord, the Anden cord. If a worker saw a problem, even a tiny scratch, they pulled the cord. The entire factory stopped. American executives thought this was insane. You stop the whole factory for one scratch, you lose millions. But Toyota knew better. By fixing the problem now, they didn't have to fix it later. The result? Toyota cars were built slower at first, but they came off the line perfect, no repairs needed. This philosophy was named Kaizen, continuous improvement. The Land Cruiser and global domination. The philosophy was great, but they needed a product. In the 1950s, the U.S. military needed a rugged vehicle for the Korean War. Toyota answered with a prototype called the Toyota Jeep BJ. To prove it worked, a test driver drove it up the side of Mount Fuji, further than any vehicle had ever gone. The police chief was so impressed, he ordered a fleet immediately. They renamed it the Land Cruiser. It was unbreakable. You could drive it into a jungle, hit it with a hammer, and it would still start. It became the car of choice for Australia, Africa, and the Middle East. It built the reputation that Toyota never breaks. Then came the oil crisis of the 1970s. Gas prices skyrocketed. Americans suddenly stopped buying massive V8 muscle cars. They wanted something small, cheap, and reliable. Enter the Toyota Corolla. While Detroit was scrambling to downsize, Toyota was ready. Their cars didn't just sip gas, they started every morning. They didn't rust in the driveway. By 1980, Toyota had surpassed the American giants. The student had beaten the master. The legacy. Today, Toyota is more than a car company. It is a system. The Toyota way is studied by hospitals, software companies, and governments around the world. From the loom that saved a mother's hands, to the sacrifice of a founder who lost everything, to the Land Cruiser climbing Mount Fuji, the spirit remains the same. Sakichi Toyoda's loom stopped when a thread broke. Today, Toyota stops for nothing. So, the next time you turn the key in your Corolla or Camry and it starts without hesitation, remember the weaving woman in the village. It all started with her. This is Para Chronicle.